We do not hate people. We are not fighting against people. We are fighting against principalities. You know, think about Daniel, who worked for Nebuchadnezzar.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about a dictatorship that was evil, and yet he had a huge influence on Nebuchadnezzar. He actually had tremendous love and respect for Nebuchadnezzar. And I think it's important for us, if we want to have influence, whoever loves the most has the most influence. And so I think it's important for us to embrace our government leaders and perhaps love and pray for those that we tend to want to criticize. Mm-hmm. We do not hate people. We are not fighting against people. We are fighting against principalities and evil spirits. And so we have to remember where we put our energies. But I think it's critical for people of all nations to get involved and display kingdom principles, because love and faithfulness and hard work and integrity and honor work everywhere.
Yeah, it's a human condition.
Those are the values of heaven. We're bringing the values of heaven and we are seeding them. We are salt and light throughout the earth. Yeah, and it might have a little different flavor in another nation, but the values, the core values are the same.
I know you've hinted at this, but you obviously are passionate about being in the political realm. Like, you believe that Christians should be in the political realm, otherwise I don't think you would be in it yourselves. Mm-hmm. What would your charge to Christians just in general be about why it's important to be involved in the political realm, in the government realm?
Well, I can start on this and let Tanessa weigh in. I want to say that politics and government is downstream from culture. So what happens up here in culture, it pours down into government. Government doesn't change culture. Culture changes government. We get really frustrated because we see values here in government that we don't like, but they are reflective of our culture.
Right.
So it's important that we come in and bring kingdom culture. If we're going to transform government, we got to bring in culture. Yep. So that's where it starts. Right. So, we often stand on the periphery and complain about what our leaders are doing, but we don't get our hands dirty. Yeah. We don't contribute to someone elected that's running with our values. We don't get involved ourselves. And so that would be my challenge to people everywhere, is get involved, sign up. It's whoever shows up, I'm here, that's your leader. It's who shows up, who comes to the table. And a lot of times we're just not at the table, and then we're unhappy about the outcome. But we're not at the table, and we didn't elect anybody to be at the table. So it's critical that we get involved, and we need to think strategically about how we do that in each community. Yeah. And those are things that Tanessa and I work on. We're always looking for people who carry kingdom values, who we believe would be good elected leaders. Yeah. And every community can do that.
Yeah. How does the general Christian come to the table? I know we can elect the right people and we can support the right people. Like, we can help, promote our, kingdom-minded leaders or people who are running for office. We can help you guys in that way. You talk about affecting culture. Are there other things that we can do as citizens? Not that I'm a citizen, I'm a resident. But are there things as citizens that we can do in the community to affect culture that is going to help you guys who are elected?
Of course.
There's absolutely.
Yeah, there's lots of different ways to get involved. I would say voting is probably the most important. The church pretty classically does not vote. So we don't contribute, we don't vote, we complain, we wring our hands, we're so upset, we point fingers. And I think that that's just a powerless mentality. And I think a lot of times when you don't understand something and it feels overwhelming, you ultimately just feel powerless. But the gospel is one of empowerment. Our churches are places to actually empower and equip people. And so I would say, if the church has a value for this realm, if the church has a value for those things, I think that they'll approach it different. They'll speak differently about it. They'll make room for those things. And I think as a leader, which is, I'm assuming everyone that's watching wants to lead in a realm that they feel comfortable and knowledgeable in. But the Lord has told us all that we are citizens of heaven and earth. And there's a responsibility, there's duties, responsibilities, and rights that come with that. And so I do think that as a whole, it is important for the church to just at least create value. Jesus' gospel message was given to a political figure. It's important that we actually know that that's a demographic that was being addressed in the gospel. And so it's going to be really important that we take time to talk about it, right? Think about all the major changes and shifts that we've had. Women in church government. That's obviously coming up to the forefront again, but we tackled that years ago. We've been going after that, and it takes bravery. You're going to have some division that comes because people are going to disagree, but I think value is going to be the number one, and that's going to be reflected by who leads and people in churches and talking about it. And I don't mean activism. Maybe you're the church that does activism, but you have to feel called to that. The Lord has to have a grace for you on that. But everyday people can vote.